My wife cheated on me with a famous married basketball player. I got my revenge and ended his marriage. My name's Michael, and I'm 31 years old. I've always thought I had a perfect life. I'm married to Erica, the woman of my dreams. We met in college and fell in love instantly. She was everything I wanted, smart, beautiful, and kind. Our life together felt like a fairy tale. We had our little apartment, our routines, and dreams of the future. But lately, something has felt off. At first, it was small things. Erica would come home late from work, claiming she was stuck in meetings. I trusted her, of course. But then, I noticed the way she looked at her phone. It was like it held a secret that she was keeping from me. I would catch her smiling at messages, quickly putting the phone down when I walked into the room. I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just a funny text from a friend. Then there were the nights she would go out with her friends more often. I encouraged her to have a good time, but I began to feel uneasy. When I asked about her evenings, she would tell me stories that seemed rehearsed, as if she was trying to convince me everything was normal. I could see a slight hesitation in her eyes when she spoke. One Saturday, I decided to surprise her. I took the day off work and planned a nice dinner at our favorite restaurant. I wanted to remind her how much I loved her. I drove to her office to pick her up, excited to see her smile when she realized what I had planned. As I parked, I noticed something strange. Her car was there, but she wasn't inside. I figured she might have gone for a quick coffee break, so I waited. Minutes passed, and my heart sank as I watched other employees come and go. After 20 minutes, I texted her, but no reply came. My stomach twisted with worry. I decided to go inside the building and look for her. As I walked through the office, I saw her sitting at a table with a coworker, laughing and leaning in closer than I'd ever seen her with anyone. I felt a strange mix of confusion and anger. She looked happy, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Why was she so close to him? When I approached them, Erica looked surprised to see me. "Michael, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice a bit too high-pitched. I forced a smile, but inside I felt a knot tighten. I tried to shake off the feeling. "I thought I'd surprise you," I said. Her coworker quickly excused himself, and I could feel the tension in the air. Erica's expression changed. It was as if she was suddenly aware that I was on to something. I wanted to ask her what was going on, but the words wouldn't come out. I didn't want to start an argument. I just wanted to understand. We left the office, and I took her to dinner. I tried to act normal, but my mind was racing. I asked her about work, her friends, and the little things we used to talk about. But every answer felt surface level. It was as if she was hiding something deep beneath the surface. When we got home, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. As we settled on the couch, I found myself staring at her. I loved her, but I felt like I was losing her. "Erica, is everything okay?" I finally asked, my voice shaky. She looked at me, and for a moment I thought I saw fear in her eyes. "Of course, Michael. Why wouldn't it be?" she replied, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. I nodded, but inside I felt a growing storm. Something was definitely off, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. Days turned into weeks, and the feeling of suspicion only grew. Erica was often on her phone, her laughter sometimes echoing through the house while I sat silently, pretending to read or watch TV. I found myself counting the minutes until she would come home, hoping for a glimpse of the woman I had fallen in love with. One evening, while she was in the shower, I picked up her phone, my heart pounding. I didn't want to invade her privacy, but I needed to know the truth. I quickly glanced through her messages. Most were from her friends, but then I saw a name that made my heart drop. A famous basketball player. My hands trembled as I opened the messages. They were flirty, filled with laughter and inside jokes. I felt sick. I put the phone down, my mind racing. Was she really cheating on me? How could she do this? The woman I loved, the woman I trusted. I sat in silence, my world crumbling around me. I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but I was scared. Scared of what I might find out, scared of what it would mean for our lives. That night, as I lay in bed beside her, I stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. The woman I thought I knew felt like a stranger. I had to find out more. I had to understand what was happening. My heart ached with uncertainty, but I knew I couldn't ignore the signs any longer. The perfect illusion was starting to shatter. and I was left to pick up the pieces. I couldn't sleep that night. The messages haunted me, and I felt a cold weight in my chest. I lay there, staring at the wall, replaying every moment, every laugh, every smile that now felt like a lie. How could she? The thought of Erica with another man, especially someone so famous, twisted my stomach in knots. The next morning, I woke up early. I felt restless and angry, but I didn't know how to express it. As Erica got ready for work, I watched her, trying to see if there were any signs of guilt. But she seemed normal, smiling and humming to herself as if nothing was wrong. It made my blood boil. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to confront her. "Erica, we need to talk," I said, my voice shaking. She looked up, surprised, but then nodded. "Okay, what's on your mind?" she asked, her tone casual. That casual tone felt like a slap in the face. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. "Last night I saw your messages," I said, my voice rising. "With him. How could you do this to me?" I could feel my heart racing as I spoke, and I could see the color drain from her face. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice suddenly defensive. "Don't play dumb, Erica. I saw everything. You think I wouldn't notice? You've been lying to me." I was yelling now, the anger spilling out uncontrollably. I could feel tears prickling at the corners of my eyes, but I pushed them back. I was furious, and I didn't want to show any weakness. "Michael, please calm down," she said, but I could see the panic in her eyes. She knew I was serious. "Calm down? You expect me to calm down after finding out you've been cheating on me? With a married man?" My voice trembled with rage. I wanted her to feel the pain I was feeling. "It's not what you think," she replied, her voice softer now. "I didn't mean for it to happen. We were just having fun." "Fun?" I shouted, feeling sick. "Is that what you call it? You're having fun while I'm here thinking everything is fine? You think this is just a game?" She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "Do you even care about me at all? Or is this just about your thrill? What do you think will happen when his wife finds out?" My words were like daggers, and I could see her struggling to respond. "Michael, I'm sorry," she stammered. "I got caught up in it. He's famous, and he made me feel special, like I was someone important. I didn't think it would go this far." "So you admit it?" I yelled, feeling a rush of anger. "You threw away our life for some excitement? What does that say about you, about us?" I watched as her face crumpled, but there were no tears. She didn't cry. Instead, she looked at me with a mix of fear and defiance. "I never meant to hurt you. I thought I could handle it. I didn't want to lose you, but I got lost in the moment." "Lost in the moment?" I echoed, incredulous. "You were sleeping with another man. How can you even say that? I trusted you, Erica. You were my everything." "I know, and I hate myself for it," she said, her voice breaking. "But it happened. I can't change that." A wave of disgust washed over me. I felt sick just looking at her. This wasn't the woman I loved. The person sitting in front of me felt like a stranger. "You need to make a choice, Erica. Him or me," I said, my heart racing. I didn't want to say it, but I felt like I had no other option. "Michael, please don't do this," she pleaded. "I love you. This was a mistake. I promise it won't happen again. Just give me another chance." "Another chance?" I spat. "You think I can just forget this? You think I can just pretend everything is fine? I deserve better than this. You've ruined everything." As my words sank in, I could see her expression change. She knew she had crossed a line. "I'll end it," she said quietly. "I'll tell him it's over. Just give me time." "Time?" I repeated, incredulous. "How can I trust you again? This isn't just a little fight. You shattered our marriage. I can't live like this." I took a deep breath, trying to control my emotions. "I want a divorce," I said, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. "I can't do this anymore." Her face went pale, and for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. "Michael, please, don't say that. It's too late for please, Erica. You made your choice. Now, I'm making mine." I turned away from her, feeling a mix of relief and heartache. I felt like I was losing a part of myself. As I walked out of the room, I heard her call my name, but I didn't turn back. I couldn't. I grabbed my keys and left the house, my mind racing. I didn't know where to go, but I couldn't stay there. The perfect illusion was gone, shattered by her betrayal. I had no idea how I would pick up the pieces, but I knew I had to find a way to move on. After leaving the house, I drove aimlessly for hours. My mind was racing, full of anger and hurt. I felt like my whole world had collapsed in a matter of days. The betrayal stung deeply, but instead of crying, I started thinking, what if I could turn this pain into something powerful? What if I could make them pay for what they did to me? That's when the idea hit me. I remembered the video. Erica had filmed herself and the basketball player during one of their secret meetings at a motel. She thought it was all fun and games, but I knew it could be a weapon. I'd seen her watch it once, laughing and smiling at something that should never have happened. I felt a rush of anger as I thought about it. I could use that video to expose her, to expose him, and ruin both their lives. I returned home and started searching for the video. It took time, but eventually I found it buried in her phone's gallery. I felt a mix of nausea and satisfaction. This was it. This was my chance for revenge. I knew what I had to do. For the next few days, I researched how to sell the video. I wanted to make sure it would go to a big tabloid, something that would get maximum attention. I found a contact at a popular gossip site known for scandalous stories. I sent them an anonymous message, hinting that I had something big. When I finally got a response, my heart raced. The editor wanted to meet me in person. We agreed on a location, a coffee shop downtown. I arrived early, my hands trembling with excitement and nerves. This was a huge step, and I felt both empowered and terrified. The editor was a middle-aged man with a sharp suit and a keen eye. He ordered a coffee and took a seat across from me. I could see the curiosity on his face as I slid my phone across the table. "What's this?" he asked, leaning in. I took a deep breath. "This is a video of a famous basketball player with his mistress. I want to sell it." His eyebrows shot up. "And who's the mistress?" I hesitated for a moment, but knew I had to be honest. "My wife," I said, my voice steady. I could see the editor's interest peak. "Wow, this could be big," he said, leaning back in his chair. "Do you have proof that it's real?" I nodded, feeling a sense of power surge through me. "Yes, I can prove it's them. They're in a motel, and it's all on tape." He smiled, excitement in his eyes. "If you can verify this, we can make a deal. We might even be able to get you a nice sum for it." I felt my heart race. I had a plan, and it was working. We negotiated terms, and finally, he offered me $40,000 for the video. It was more money than I had ever seen in one place. The thought of what I could do with that money, combined with the satisfaction of exposing them, filled me with a sense of purpose. Once we shook hands, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I had taken control. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the one with the power now. After we finished the deal, I walked out of the coffee shop, my mind racing. I had the cash, and I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and guilt. Was this the right thing to do? But then I thought of Erica and what she had done to me. She deserved this. That evening, I sat at home, looking at the money spread out on the table. It felt unreal. I had turned my pain into something tangible. I could use this money to start fresh, to build a new life away from the shadows of my past. But more importantly, I could ruin the lives of those who had betrayed me. The next day, the news broke. The video was released, and within hours, it was everywhere. Social media exploded with posts about Erica and the famous basketball player. The headlines were outrageous. "Wife of local man caught in steamy affair with star player." I felt a thrill run through me as I read the articles. I watched the fallout unfold online. Friends and family started commenting, sharing their shock and disbelief. My phone buzzed with messages from people I hadn't heard from in years, all asking if it was true. The betrayal was no longer just my burden, it was public knowledge. Erica's reputation was in tatters. I felt a mixture of triumph and sadness. I knew she would be hurt, but I also felt justified. She had taken my trust and stomped on it. Now it was my turn to take something from her. That night, I received a call from the editor. "This is going to blow up even more," he said excitedly. "The player's wife has already filed for divorce, and the story is trending worldwide." I couldn't help but smile. I was shaking off the pain of betrayal and turning it into power. The public was eating it up, and I was finally free from the chains of doubt and hurt. As the days went by, I watched the chaos unfold. Erica was silent for a while, but I could see the stress in her eyes whenever she did venture outside. I imagined her walking through the city, whispers following her everywhere. I felt a sense of justice wash over me. I had plotted my revenge, and I had succeeded. I couldn't change the past, but I could control my future. I felt stronger than ever, ready to embrace whatever came next. I had fought back, and it felt good. I was no longer a victim, I was a survivor, and I would rise from the ashes of this betrayal. The day my plan was set into motion felt surreal. I had watched the news coverage of the scandal unfold, but now it was time for me to witness the real impact of my actions. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the moment when everyone would finally know the truth. As the media frenzy grew, I could barely contain my anticipation. The headlines were everywhere. Scandal rocks the basketball world. Local woman caught cheating with star player. I watched in fascination as news anchors discussed the affair, giving it a life of its own. It was wild to see my personal pain broadcasted to the world. The player's wife, a well-known socialite, was devastated. Reports flooded in about her shock and heartbreak. She held a press conference, her face pale and tear-streaked, asking for privacy during such a difficult time. I felt a strange satisfaction watching her struggle to hold it together. I could only imagine the betrayal she felt, just as I had. Meanwhile, Erica was trying to salvage her reputation. I saw her make desperate attempts to explain herself on social media, claiming she had been manipulated and that it was a mistake. But her words fell flat. People were angry, and the comments section of her posts was brutal. I couldn't help but smile at the backlash she faced. The world was turning against her, and it felt like justice. At work, I watched my colleagues' reactions. Everyone was buzzing about the affair, gossiping in hushed tones. I overheard whispers about how they couldn't believe Erica would do something like this. It was both painful and exhilarating. I was the man wronged, and the world was on my side. But it wasn't just Erica facing the fallout. The basketball players' team released a statement saying they were investigating the matter. Sponsors began to pull their endorsements, and news outlets questioned his future in the league. I felt a surge of power as I realized how deeply my actions had affected not just their lives, but also their careers. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about their reputations being dragged through the mud. As the scandal grew, I began receiving messages from friends and family. Some expressed their support, while others were shocked and disapproving. I didn't care. I was finally free from the shackles of betrayal. I was in control, and I intended to stay that way. One afternoon, as I was scrolling through the news articles online, I saw a headline that made my heart race. Wife of basketball star files for divorce. I clicked on the article, and my heart sank. The player's wife was moving quickly to end her marriage, stating that she could no longer trust him after this betrayal. I felt a dark sense of satisfaction. My actions had consequences, and I had ensured that both Erica and the player would face the music. Meanwhile, Erica was becoming increasingly desperate. I could see her trying to navigate the storm she had created. She began calling me, pleading for a chance to talk. She wanted to explain, to apologize. I felt a rush of anger at her attempts to worm her way back into my life. How could she think I would ever forgive her? Each time her name flashed on my phone, I hesitated. Part of me wanted to answer, to confront her face to face and let her feel the weight of what she had done. But another part of me relished in the power I now held. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break down. I was stronger than that. Days turned into weeks, and the scandal continued to dominate the headlines. I could hardly go anywhere without hearing someone talk about Erica or the player. Friends would ask me how I felt about it, and I'd simply smile, saying I was moving on. Inside, though, I was reveling in the chaos. One night as I was unwinding at home, my phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. I answered, curiosity piqued. "Hello?" I said. "Michael, it's me, Erica." Her voice was shaky, and I could hear desperation in her tone. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice cold. "I need to talk. Please, I can't handle this anymore," she pleaded. I felt a rush of anger and triumph at the same time. "You think I want to listen to you? You destroyed everything we had. Why would I want to talk?" "Because I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. I didn't realize how much I could hurt you. I never wanted it to go this far," she said, her voice breaking. "Too late for apologies, Erica. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it," I replied, my voice firm. "Michael, please. I know I messed up, But I'm not the only one to blame. You need to understand, he wanted me. I didn't think it would get this serious, she tried to justify. I felt disgusted. You think that makes it better? You're still the one who cheated. You're still the one who betrayed me. Stop trying to shift the blame. She fell silent, and for a moment I thought I heard her crying. But I didn't feel sympathy. I felt relief. She was suffering, and somehow that made me feel more powerful. I just want a chance to explain, she said finally. Explain what? How you ruined our lives? How you chose him over me? You've lost your chance, I said, my voice steady. I'm done with you, Erica. I have no interest in your explanations. You need to deal with the mess you created. With that, I hung up, my heart racing. I had stood my ground. I wouldn't let her back into my life. She had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. As the days passed, I kept my distance. I didn't respond to her messages or calls. The media continued to cover the fallout, and I reveled in every new article. The scandal had turned into a spectacle, and I was no longer the victim. I was a force to be reckoned with. In the end, the plan I executed had not only exposed the truth, but had also freed me from the shackles of betrayal. I felt empowered, ready to embrace whatever came next. The chaos around me was a reminder of my strength, and I was determined to rise from the ashes of this heartbreak stronger than ever. The days turned into weeks, and the aftermath of my revenge settled like a thick fog around me. I watched as Erica and the basketball players' lives crumbled under the weight of the scandal I had unleashed. Their reputations, once admired and envied, were now reduced to mere whispers and laughter in the streets. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. At first, the thrill of my actions filled me with a sense of power. The headlines still blared, and every time I turned on the TV, it seemed like another report about Erica's downfall was airing. Wife caught in scandal. Basketball star faces career crisis. I should have felt victorious, but instead, I felt hollow. I spent many evenings alone, staring at the walls of my apartment. The quiet was deafening. I had accomplished what I set out to do, expose the truth and take back my power. But at what cost? I had ruined 2 lives, and in doing so, I had lost a part of myself. I thought that tearing them down would somehow fill the void in my heart, but all it did was remind me of the love I had lost. The anger that fueled my revenge slowly faded, replaced by a sense of grief. I missed the life we had built together. I missed the moments of laughter, the quiet evenings spent on the couch, and the dreams we had shared. It was hard to reconcile those memories with the person I now saw on the news. Erica was not just a stranger. She was someone I once loved deeply. One night, I found myself scrolling through social media, looking at pictures of happy couples, friends celebrating, and families enjoying life. Each image felt like a dagger in my heart. I remembered the good times, and it stung. I was left with an emptiness that revenge couldn't fill. Then I saw a video clip of the basketball player addressing the media. His voice was shaky, and I could see the weight of shame in his eyes. He apologized to his wife and fans, claiming he had made mistakes and was seeking help. I felt a pang of guilt watching him. Was I really any better for taking such pleasure in his downfall? I had become the monster I had wanted to destroy. I started reflecting on my own actions. Did I really want to be the person who took joy in someone else's pain? As much as I wanted to believe I was justified, a part of me knew that I had crossed a line. It felt good to watch them squirm, but it didn't bring me the happiness I had hoped for. My phone buzzed with a message from an old friend, inviting me to a gathering. I hesitated but eventually decided to go. I needed to reconnect with people, to remind myself that there was life beyond this chaos. As I walked into the crowded room, I felt a mix of anxiety and hope. Being around friends felt comforting. They greeted me with warm smiles and supportive words. I tried to engage in conversations, but my mind kept drifting back to the mess I had created. As I listened to their laughter and stories, I couldn't help but feel like an outsider. I was trapped in my own thoughts, haunted by my actions. Later that evening, I stepped outside for some fresh air. I needed a moment to clear my head. Standing on the balcony, I took a deep breath, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance. The night felt peaceful, but my heart was restless. I realized that I needed to let go of the anger that had consumed me. The following days I tried to make small changes. I started exercising and focused on my work. I also sought therapy to help me process the whirlwind of emotions I was feeling. It was tough to confront the pain, but I knew I had to heal. I began to understand that revenge hadn't filled the void. It had only deepened it. In therapy, I talked about Erica, the love we once shared, and how her betrayal shattered me. I learned that healing was a journey, one that required forgiveness, both for her and for myself. It was hard to accept that I had allowed my pain to lead me down a dark path. As the weeks passed, the media frenzy began to die down. Erica's name slowly faded from the headlines, and I felt a strange sense of relief. It was time for me to move on. I didn't want to be defined by this chapter in my life anymore. I wanted to find happiness again, to rediscover what it meant to love and be loved without fear. One afternoon, I received a message from Erica. My heart raced as I opened it, unsure of what to expect. She wanted to meet and talk. Part of me was furious at the thought, but another part of me felt curiosity. What could she possibly say that would change anything? I decided to meet her, needing to confront my past. When I arrived at the cafe, I saw her sitting at a table, her face lined with stress and sorrow. She looked up as I approached, and I could see the pain in her eyes. "Michael," she said softly, her voice shaky, "I'm sorry for everything. I messed up so badly. I never wanted to hurt you." I took a seat, trying to remain calm. "You did hurt me, Erica. You hurt me deeply. I don't know if I can ever forgive you." "I understand," she replied, her voice breaking. "But I've been doing a lot of thinking. I realized how much I took for granted, and I hate myself for it. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I hope one day you can." As we talked, I could see the genuine remorse in her eyes. It wasn't easy to hear, but I felt something shift within me. I didn't have to hold on to the anger forever. Maybe forgiveness wasn't about absolving her of her actions, but about freeing myself from the burden of resentment. By the end of our conversation, I felt lighter. We talked about our memories and how we had both lost our way. I knew that we couldn't go back to what we once had, but perhaps we could find a way to move forward, separately, but with a sense of closure. As I walked away from that cafe, I felt a strange sense of peace. I had faced the pain, confronted the past, and was finally ready to embrace the future. Revenge had shown me what I was capable of, but in the end, it was forgiveness that set me free. The emptiness inside me began to fill with hope and the possibility of new beginnings. I still had a long way to go, but I was determined to rebuild my life. I had survived the storm, and now it was time to rise again. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next video. See you next time.